Sumant has been here for some time. Sir, you came today morning. And sir, you also came from Chennai port, by the way. So amazing, collection of experts. So this is a unique day in my recent memory as far as Andaman and Nicobar is concerned. Another thing I was telling the organizers, it should not be a Gyan Sangam, where we talk down to people, say, कि ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए. It's a collective effort to think together. A lot of people in the audience will have far more deeper understanding of the nuances. We may say something, and the reality on the ground reality could be very different. In those situations, feel free to interject and talk to us. So that's absolutely something that we are looking at. It's an ideas summit, and ideas are always welcome. Now coming to our panel discussion, today's discussion is about infrastructure. And when you talk about infrastructure, I think two most important things are ports. There is a lot of talk around ports. The Great Nicobar project has been in the public discourse for a while now. And then there is the question of power. And of course, ports and shipping go together. Let me first go to Devki sir. He is also the president of Private Ports and Terminals Association of India. So basically, जितने भी private ports operators हैं India में, Adani's, Jindal, you are part of Jindal Infrastructure. So all of that, he's the boss. Let me start this discussion with your opening remarks. What do you think of the port potential of Andaman and Nicobar Islands? And draw from your experience, if hypothetically speaking, there was to be a port, there is a port in Great Nicobar in Campbell Bay. क्या लगता है? What kind of business opportunity do you think there is?
So good evening to everyone who has come and spending their valuable time here. And first of all, thank you to the organizer to invite me here to speak. And before I answer directly to your questions, I also want to highlight a little bit about India, where we are in India. I think it may take 1 or 2 minutes more, but then it will be very relevant about speaking about the micro and the fundamentals of India, and then I'll come back to the Andaman Nicobar. It's very important to understand because they are co-linked and they are related. So if you see, if you compare the developed countries, which are called G7, the recently G7 summit is also there, and there are E7 countries which are emerging countries. So in 2023, so the G7 countries had economy of $46 trillion and E7 is 31 trillion. So we are quite far behind. But by 2050, the G7 will be 69 trillion and the emerging country will be double of it, almost 138 trillions. So basically the emerging country like India is growing much faster. And if I say about the purchasing power parity, which is very important in the entire context of the global scenarios, so the China will be almost 20% of the entire world. India will be second, which will be 15% of the entire world's GDP in PPP will be India actually. So it's huge, and the EU and then US will be 12%. So to cater that kind of economy in 2050, it requires huge infrastructure. I mean, really something which is very big about it. And if you see, there are a lot of other fundamentals in India which we have. For example, consumption storage, everybody talks about it. So India is powerhouse of the consumption. So in FY23, we have 3.4 trillion consumption. 28, we have 5 trillion consumption. And 30, we have 6 trillion, we're going to have $6 trillion of consumption, internal consumption, which I'm talking about. It's huge. Then we have very young and youth population. The future entrepreneurs will be from India. Today also many of the Fortune 500 companies are from India. And then technology, if you see the fintech, 6G and semiconductors, almost 50% of the entire world's digital payments are from India alone. So the entire world is one side, India is one side. And then almost 170 million demat accounts we have. Not that much population of entire some countries have. That much demat accounts we have. So what I'm trying to say, and then of course on top of that, we will be in top 3 countries by GDP wise. Our GDP is also doing very well. And the investment grade rating, India is now the upgrade happened in S&P also. So if we see it in our India scenario, as a country level, will be going forward, will be in number 3, number 4. Now I come back to the marine sector or maritime
So
infrastructure.
business case for ports, is that what you're saying? So there is
Yeah.
enough demand and supply to
Absolutely.
ensure that there should be
But I
port-led
also
development.
want to highlight one more thing. If I see where we are in marine sector or infrastructure sector as a country, and then there is a scope for what the Andaman Nicobar can do, add into that one. So if I give 2-3 indexes, so within the competitive index we are at 41 rank actually, and logistic performance index we are 38 rank in India. And then shipbuilding we are 16, then liner connectivity which connects to the cargo, we are 16. Means we are much far behind than for this sector actually. And that's why the India Maritime Vision 2030 came, and the Amrit Kal Vision 2047 came. So all these are extremely good, but then what we need now? We need mega ports to improve from this level to go to the number 2 or
How
3.
many megaports do we have right now?
Right now we have none actually.
None.
Yes.
Acha.
So the answer lies there. If you want to be superpower, we have to go through that channel, which China did it. And then, of course, we almost about 90% of our cargo is transshipped in Colombo and Singapore. Now imagine that our cargo is going to Singapore. And the Singapore and Hong Kong, if you see the history of them, has come through the container cargo. Actually,
So we
their
have to
hub.
first send to Singapore, and from there, that's the
Absolutely.
hub.
Absolutely.
Acha.
So
Okay.
quite a lot goes to the Singapore and.
So why
all
is
these
that we have
places.
not been able to build
So
a megaport?
that's where the Andaman Nicobar is coming now.
Acha,
That's
okay.
the
Alright.
story which I am trying to say today evening, that all people who lives here should have been proud of. The one crown jewel is going to be added up here by the government of India with 46,000 crore rupees of investment, and this will be a really game changer for this. Why? Because almost there's a shipping route which is passing through. It's just 40 kilometers from the shipping route. And then the Chennai high-speed connectivity is coming up here, Chennai, Andaman, Nicobar. So if we have data connectivity, the optic fibers, and then of course once the PPP project comes, there are all other ancillary industries will come, like fueling, which we talk about, shipbuilding, we have n number of things, and then the cold storage, and which will help fisheries. So n number of skill development, and then the lot of things are for the main people who are living here and can add skill and can work there. So going forward, this will be a really game changer for this, not only for this place, but also for India. That's what I want.
All those, anybody who's thinking about the environment part, I must add that there is another panel after this where we'll talk about that. But for the time being, coming to Sumant, how are you seeing the Andaman opportunity? Are you happy? You have just started operations here. I think how many? 2 months, 2-3 months?
No, it's been 4 months.
4 months. How's been your experience? Scope for
Yes,
improvement?
Of course, there is a scope for improvement, but I think what Devki was saying, if this project is executed well, it's definitely going to be a game changer. And shipping has to contribute to execute it well in terms of, moving your construction material, everything. You only have 2 ways of doing it, either via air or sea. Obviously, that kind of a scale you can't achieve via air. So shipping has to be a key factor to be countered and considered in this. What we see now, I think we have only 7 ships plying from mainland here. Those are 3,000, 4,000 tonners. Obviously, that kind
What
of
is the average holding period for cargo right now in the ports?
is out.
And what do you think? Why is that not there in the first place? No, I don't want to, be as diplomatic as you want to be. But I'm just asking, why do you think? Despite, हम तो बचपन में जहाज में जाते आते थे. Everybody realizes what are the shortcomings. Why that you think has not happened so far?
I think the government has started focusing on this, and the focus has come, we can see in policy making, and what I can only think is that the focus was not there from previous governments or whatever the previous regimes. But as a new entrant, we see, the local administration is very supportive. They've been very fair and transparent. We've had a lot of hiccups, but we see the policies, we see there is a need for new entrant, obviously, and but then there is a lot of resistance from existing players, which we think is a very short-sightedness on their part.
Right. Could you sort of elaborate in the sense, because you also mentioned that this somewhere ultimately, because of the unevenness of the market, it's the customer on the ground who ends up paying a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, आप कुछ भी खरीदिए, you have to add the transportation
And
part of it.
That is true. That is because as I mentioned, there were very few tonnages which were catering to this main island, and I would say the efficiency was not there. And there is basically, if you ask me, there was a duopoly. Yeah. There are two operators who were catering from mainland, and when you have duopoly or monopoly, you know the answer to this, right? So that
How much
needs
do
to
you
be
think the
changed.
cost of goods will come down if the situation resolves?
Well, after we have come down, I mean, we have started our service. I think I'm not the right person, but you should ask the islanders here. But I think it is somewhere around 30 to 40%. We have brought the cost down.
तो बेसिकली अगर आलू प्याज ये सब चीज़ें लेनी होंगी तो उसके बाद में the cost of everything is going to come down, if these issues are resolved. I mean, something needs to be done about it. I think there are enough pointers what needs to be done, and I'm sure the administration is doing its best to solve this.
They have.
That is there. Now coming back to our previous discussion about the opportunity that Andaman Nicobar presents. So I was reading a little bit. So we are on a very crucial shipping line. Although Colombo and Singapore are options, but these mega vessels, they actually have to take a detour to reach these areas. Now, if assuming there is a big infrastructure project like the Great Nicobar port, will a company like L&T Defense think about starting up manufacturing operations? Because you'll be very close to where the strategic areas are, as far as India's defense is concerned. What is your view on that, Captain Ujjwal? Sorry, from L&T Defense, for those who he missed. L&T Defense, as we all know, is in the forefront of building some of the most complicated pieces of defense equipment. And yeah, over to you.
Yes. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me here. Before I dive into the question, I would like to acknowledge here that I've seen a great sense of great energy and involvement here amongst the organizers. So whomsoever I was speaking to, so they were like, we've been invited by them and we cannot say no. And it was so much of passion that I saw here, and I personally believe whatever is done with a lot of passion gathers a lot of momentum and sees the light of the day in the positive sense. So best wishes to the organizer, and I hope it really takes off and does well from here. Now coming to the question here, now we have very recently seen the Iran-US conflict which was there. The Strait of Hormuz became the discussion point on every news channel, discussion points and all that, because that is where all the the ships are coming from there. Okay, so it was becoming a choke point where you could stop the thing and everything down the line is getting affected. So similar is the situation from here. We are hardly 150 miles, like Indra Point, if you see from Malacca Straits, the western tip of that, there's hardly 150 kilometers from there. So we are in that zone where almost 1/4 of world's trade is passing through, and almost 100% of the East Asian countries' energy is passing through. So it's a very, very strategic place where we are right now here, and we are discussing at that place. And to your question, yes, that project will become, it will be a game changer, I feel so, because if we are able to tap in, geographically we have that advantage. It's a very big strategic advantage that we have, and we have to utilize it. Maybe we are a little late, but never so late, I would say. And as regards to L&T being a party to it, so L&T Precision Engineering, which is taking up various projects for the defense, which requires developmental as well as manufacturing and other projects. So we are happy to partner for the country, increasing the capability wherever we can, contribute to the best to our capacities and capabilities. And whenever such a requirement comes from the government, we are at the forefront to bid for it, see to it that we do our best to deliver. So coming back to the point here, I feel that what we need here is that we have the demand is there. We have to see how we fulfill that demand. So it may be deep water ports where the merchant vessels can come and they can dock. The repair support, if the one which we can give it to them, I am slightly more inclined towards that because I am an engineer myself. And see to it that we have a faster turnaround, which he just mentioned, 24 to 28 hours, and we have to cut it down. We have to cut it down drastically. What we see right across what is happening in Singapore and Sri Lanka, I am sure we will be able to replicate it, we'll be able to do it, and we'll be able to do it better, and opportunities are there for us to grab it and take it on. So that is
How
my
many
take.
jobs you think something if L&T sets up a facility? I know this is a very, very up in the air question. I'm fully aware of it. But in general, could it sort of create a sustainable sort of a platform where children, might find employment after a point?
Yes. So to that question, there are two aspects to it. One is the direct jobs which will be there. So at the time of construction, at the time of facility development, there will be some jobs which will be created where people will be involved in getting that thing going. The second part will be in sustaining that. So there will be jobs which, with respect to port services, with respect to the repair services, that is like we'll require welders, we'll require fitters, we'll require people who can run the port services, we'll require project managements, we'll require the logistic services to that. So a lot of indirect jobs will get created for it. And I feel in my like ballpark, what we are looking at, I think 6,000 to 8,000 jobs can get created if we look at all these services combined, because I am taking it sector by sector. Each sector divided equally also will come to that number.
Now coming to Captain Milton, sir, if you could share some nuggets of your insight from Chennai port, and if you compare with where Andaman right now is, what are the key takeaways for the port and shipping sector here?
Yeah. So I come from Chennai.
You can use mine.
So as you all know that I'm coming from Chennai port. So to give a little bit of insight, like what as port authorities we are doing. So we come under Ministry of Shipping, and so the last few years, like maybe we say like last 10-15 years, we not only looking at how efficiently we are working, we are also getting to partner with other stakeholders. For an example, to tell you that this just about a question which was discussed, that why it is taking so much time to discharge our load here, and what's the turnaround period. So what is happening is that SCI is our government company which was there. Last 3 decades we did not add any more vessels. The fleet size was the same. In fact, it was reduced. Now currently the government of India has given certain initiatives where we are partnering, like SCI, Conquer, like some.
How many new ships are coming, you feel?
Yeah, so we the strategy is around till 2047 we are going to acquire some about 59 vessels, and the
On what class of vessels?
this is all container vessels, different sizes we are coming up. So therefore this question where connecting Andaman to Chennai kind of would be a solution to it, to bring down the cost, because when the government of India comes in, definitely the bigger chunk of that capital that would be taken by the government. So therefore definitely this cost will go down. And also the main part is because even the port authorities are going to be partnering into that. It would be definitely keeping a good accountability on those, how it has been operated, so that is also going to be a big takeaway.
Also, since you're from Chennai ports, I want to ask you a very, very key question, because we are discussing ports here. What's been your understanding of the ecological impact? You run ports, many ports. I think there are how many ports under Chennai port right now overall? I think More than 5? I mean,
With government there are 12 ports.
12 ports. Okay. What's been the ecological impact? Do you think it's completely destroyed the ecosystem around it, or it's kind of exaggerated, this notion?
See, certainly, it would have some impact, but we cannot straight away say that there wouldn't be any impact. But we need to, these are some things which we need to look into it, a country like India, where because maritime presence is not a presence locally, it is making a presence in globally. So therefore, any, these decisions would have certain impact, but then we have to take this bullet. Keeping in our country is development, growth, job, all those things coming into place. And now, especially the construction business, like, ship, this is something which is not a local market, it's a global market. And therefore, we should get into those space, otherwise we will be loosed out. And creating such a space here, which is very centralized in the Bay of Bengal. So strategically, it is a very good, geographically, it is a very location which would really be an advantage for a growing India.
I recently, in Mumbai where I work, I met some senior policymakers, and my key takeaway from that discussion was the fact that, government wants to create champions, like China has created champions. China has big oil companies, it has big tech companies, and they have received all kind of support. Now, if India were to do something like this, do we have enough players, domestic players, who can take up these challenges? Can we build a megaport? Do we have the expertise? I want to ask this to Devki sir.
So the answer is yes. So just to give example, like Adani is the biggest, so they have created they are handling 400 million tons of cargo.
Can JSW also handle?
And then the second number is JSW. We are handling 120 million tons of cargo, and we are already operating 10 ports and 3 greenfield ports which have been made from the scratch. And one more thing I wanted to give is JSW infrastructure. Like we are constructing 3 brand new ports.
Where are these ports?
So one is in Odisha, which is already like 70% complete. Second is in Maharashtra, and third is in Karnataka. So on the both sides of the coast, we are making ports. So making the greenfield port is not that easy, and maybe 2-3 years of job. It takes substantial amount of time. And I think it will be great then when this project comes. There are a lot of other partners like JM Baxi, etc., and then DP World, PSA. The foreign players are also there. But one thing certainly is there, that in India the container cargo is controlled by mostly the foreign shipping lines, because we don't have our own shipping line. Shipping Corporation of India and all these companies are a little bit smaller in size. And then
so we have Sumant right next to you.
Yes.
You want to answer why that is the case? We don't have enough shipping lines?
No, one of the thing was the ports, that we did not have a transshipment port. We were using Colombo and Singapore, as you mentioned. So the bigger vessels come, they dump or they offload their cargo at these bigger ports, and then the feeder vessel, the small feeder vessels, they carry it to Indian ports. So that is what I think the Indian government is trying to do with this GNI project, to make a transshipment port, which which makes it easier for our tonnage. And
Colombo also you have to use feeder vessels. It's not so people have this notion that a transshipment port should have hinterland connectivity. So that is not a prerequisite.
No, not at all. No. So this is an ideal location, as he said. We are almost 80 nautical miles from the entrance of Malacca Strait. So Singapore, what is their existence? The maritime ecosystem is what has given them the edge in the world, which is what they are capitalizing on. And we are 80 miles from there. Of course, we can definitely, they are 50 years ahead of us, but we can definitely catch up. If it is executed well, we are there.
And L&T Defense, you think, it works logistically for you to sort of use this route for all your supply chain requirements, plus if you are exporting?
So as regards L&T Precision Engineering goes, we are into defense business, in the sense we are making defense equipment and systems. So as part of that, we don't have much of need for that. But whatever required, it can be utilized from these sea lines.
Sorry, I was talking to my colleague. I'm so
no
sorry.
problem, no problem. So I'll
Sorry.
just repeat. So I said from the L&T defense
Yes.
side, which is precision engineering, so we produce like systems for the defense forces. So wherever it is requiring
Right.
it to be used for the sea lines, we can
Sure.
use these. Yeah,
Right.
we can use these lines, but then not as a continuous running business.
No,
will
I
not
was
be.
intending this more on the lines of new ports coming up. So it definitely
Yes.
eases supply chain for you.
Yes, yes, it will help out. Yes.
And Sumant, how are you business forecasting with the kind of demand surge just talked about?
Oh, definitely, we are very upbeat about this. If this project has to, if this is executed, not only us, a lot of bigger players have to chip in. The scale will be beyond imagination of existing players. So we will need all hands on the deck, as we say in marine.
Right, and literally so actually.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. So any last, parting observations? Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yeah, in my opinion, this project should have come at least 40 to 50 years ago, not
Absolutely.
today. Because see, the Singapore and Hong Kong and all these big big cities have developed around the port. So actually, they are taking quite a large share from us only. So we should take our own share. If you proud ourselves, we should keep it for security reason, for all variety of things. We should be self-sufficient, which our Prime Minister is talking about. So this project is already late. And one more point which you have added is about the environment. I think is quite a lot exaggerated. It's not that much that, yes, some small amount will always happen, but there are now technology available. There are almost zero damage to the environment. These kind of precautions, measures, technology already available.
Let me ask you a little controversial question. How do you deal with controversies around your projects? There are always political stakeholders, asking you to do this or that. How does a JSW group or a APJ you had to deal with a lot many trade unions? I don't know what is the current situation of the new government in Bengal.
Well, of course, the things have changed. So-called parivartan has come. So it's a part of the business. I know. I think we all grew up in this ecosystem. We learn to survive. That's what we Indians are best at. So I think when the ease of business comes, everything grows. Not only us, the community, everybody, the end consumer gains it.
So, आपको लगता है ease of business has become improved? Has it improved over the years in the last at least?
Certainly it has improved a lot, and like whatever I am seeing the industry here, I find that there is a lot of like energy in the industry, and a lot of young lot is also coming up to take on responsibilities to add on in their own ways. So like the bigger companies, they're trying to get AI into the stuff, but then I see really on the ground things are happening which are helping in productivity improvement. So yes, there is an improvement, and I find a very positive change on that side. Yeah.
So how much capex? Do you mind doing capex in Andaman if everything works out for you? Are you okay?
Capex in the sense, like I said, if a government project comes and
You
we
will be part
bid
of
for
it.
it, we will participate.
What about you, Sumant?
wholeheartedly.
Are you going to open offices and employ a lot of local
Definitely,
people?
yes.
Huh?
We've already done some investment, and we're coming up with more.
I'm not
Be
going
rest
to
assured.
embarrass you by asking if you're going to bid for the Great Nicobar Port project, but if you still want to answer it, you can answer. And how are you going to help the local economy?
So absolutely, I think this is a very good project coming up by the Chennai, and I think the major port authorities are building it initially, and then they will bid out on PPP. So we are one of the largest PPP operator in India as a port. So it's definitely a very good project for everybody, and I'm sure the local population for job, employment wise, it will be phenomenal progress.
I think the local population also realizes that we have to start looking beyond the government sector for livelihood. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you on that note.